A little while ago, Sony did something that not a whole lot of people were expecting. They put out a camera that was designed to go in between the two cameras that they already had out there in that line. Of course, I'm talking about the A6400. Now, I personally have one of these cameras. I'm shooting on it right now, and I also have the A6500. And if you were to base it strictly on the numbers, you'd think that the A6500 would be the better camera. However, there are a lot of things about the A6400 that actually make it a significantly better camera than the A6500. So, being someone who has both of these cameras and talks about them a lot, I get asked a lot of the time, if you were to buy a camera, should you pick the A6400 or A6500? So in this video, we're gonna talk about 5 reasons why you would wanna buy the A6400 and 5 reasons why you would wanna buy the A6500. Let's kick things off with the A6400. Reason number 1. This is probably the most obvious one, but it has a flip-up screen. When Sony was marketing this, when it was first released, it was supposed to be the vlogger's camera. And in order to be a vlogger's camera, you had to be able to see yourself. This flip-up screen is a huge, huge help in a lot of situations. For example, I can see myself right now. I try not to look at myself because it doesn't look very good if I'm not looking right at the lens, but being able to frame up your shot, make sure I'm standing right in the center, see what my lighting looks like, all of those things is super helpful when I'm setting up or when I'm out and filming myself. Reason number 2 to get the A6400 instead of the A6500 is the updated autofocus system. Now don't get me wrong, the autofocus on the A6500 is great, but the A6400 autofocus is just insane how good it is. Between the face detection and the eye detection, and now with the new update, you can do animal eye autofocus. This autofocus system is ridiculous. Again, as someone who films myself a lot of the time, it's super important that I can trust the autofocus system to be doing its job. I can't be staring at the screen and adjusting autofocus all the time or choosing new autofocus points. I basically have to be able to just turn the camera on and know that it's gonna track my face for the entirety of my video. Also, when taking photos, it's super accurate, it's super quick, it just works. The third reason you might want to get the A6400 instead of the A6500 is because there is no screen dimming. This is one of my biggest problems with the A6500. The fact that when you're shooting 4K video, you get this screen dimming, so you can't really gauge what your exposure is. You can try and use your zebras and your histogram, but really it would just be nice to be able to see it on the screen. Especially if you're outside, it becomes really, really difficult. On the A6400, because of the new processor and because it's more efficient and there's less heat, they were able to keep it so that in 4K, it doesn't dim the screen when you're trying to shoot. You can even change the screen brightness to sunny weather mode and still shoot 4K without that nasty dimming. This is still kind of one of my big problems with my A6500. The fourth reason is a bit of a joint one, but it's the color science and the HLG profiles. On the A6400, they've updated the color science to more match what they did with the A7 III, and overall, the camera community seems to be really excited about that. Everyone seems to like the new color science a lot more. It's supposed to be more flattering on skin tones and not have as much of that weird green, yellow Sony wash that we were seeing before. I never really had a huge problem with this with my A6500, but it is there. And the fifth reason is for the updated menus. The big change in the menus isn't necessarily the organization, and I know a lot of people rag on the Sony menus, but they've got this custom menu that you can create now to get at things easier that you access regularly. So for example, in my custom menu, I keep things like formatting the memory card and changing the frame rate. But you can pretty much put whatever you want in there, and it's nice and easy to access. So for those of you complaining about having to go through all the Sony menus, you can make it nice and easy for yourself now. Okay, so that's the A6400, and I do use my A6400 a lot in certain situations, but I do find myself still using the A6500 in a lot of situations as well. So let's talk about why you might want to consider that one instead of the newer A6400. Reason number 1, and the most obvious difference between the two cameras, is that the A6500 has in-body image stabilization. Having stabilization on the sensor and not relying on the lens to do do it allows you to use any lens you want and still have that extra stability. Now, for some people, this isn't gonna make a huge difference, but for video shooters and vloggers especially, this is gonna make a difference in your videos looking more professional and not feeling so shaky. It's not gonna make it look gimbal-like. Only really a gimbal can do that, but it does take out those tiny little micro jitters that you get from your hand shaking. Especially when you're using more telephoto lenses, you're gonna see a big difference between the A6400 and A6500 because of that IBIS. Reason number 2 is that the A6500 has better functionality with the Sony Imaging Edge app. If you're someone who uses your phone to connect to your camera and take photos that way, the Imaging Edge app is still a fairly new thing. They just switched over from the Play Memories app. And as of right now, the functionality with the A6400 is still somewhat lacking. On the A6500, you can do things like tap to focus, but on the A6400, for some reason, that's still not there. I was really surprised when I first got the A6400. I went to take some photos of myself using the app, and I went to tap on my face so that it would select the right focus point, and it just wouldn't let me. This was something that I was very used to from the A6500, so to lose that functionality was kind of annoying. Chances are this is something that they will fix in a firmware update, but as of right now, it doesn't have it. Reason number 3 to consider the A6500 is for the extra custom button and the extra memory slot on the mode dial. This may seem like a tiny little one, but it can make a big difference. The A6400 has one less button for you to customize, more like the layout of the A6300, and on the mode dial, there's one less memory slot. So if you're someone who wants that extra control or wants to switch between modes more quickly, the A6500 may be the better choice. Reason number 4 for the A6500 is because there are more accessories available for it. Just like with any camera, when it's fairly new, it takes a while for all these accessory companies to get caught up and to make all their accessories for it. For example, with both my A6500s, I like to have these wooden handles on it. I find it gives me a little bit more to hold on to. But when I reached out to SmallRig to see if they were making it yet, they said it's something that they're gonna get on in the future, but it hasn't been made yet. And there are a number of other accessories that we already have for the A6500 that are gonna take some time to develop for the A6400. And the final reason why you may wanna consider the A6500 is because there are used ones on the market. Because the A6400 has been released and because the A7 III is such an affordable full-frame option, a lot of people have sold or are selling their A6500s at a markdown price. Also, there are rumors that the Sony A6500 successor is going to be announced very soon, so I have a funny feeling like we're going to see a lot more of these Sony A6500s on the market. And chances are you're going to be able to find them at a good deal. But as always, I want to hear from you. What would your reasons be for going with the A6400 or the A6500? Leave a comment below, and on your way down there, remember to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Hit that like button, it really does help. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.